Have you ever noticed a stray cat watching you from across the street? Not running away, not coming closer, just sitting there, quietly observing. You continue walking, and for a brief moment, your eyes meet. Then, the cat looks away as if nothing happened. Most people think that moment means very little, but to the cat, it may be one of the most important decisions it will ever make. Trust doesn't begin when a stray cat lets you touch it. It begins much earlier, long before it ever takes a single step toward you. In fact, the exact moment a stray cat decides to trust you is almost invisible. It isn't marked by a dramatic event or a sudden change in behavior. Instead, it's built from dozens of tiny observations that happen over days, weeks, or even months. To understand that moment, we first have to see the world through the cat's eyes. For a stray cat, every day is a balance between opportunity and danger. Food can appear almost anywhere, but so can threats. A quiet street can suddenly become noisy. A peaceful yard can fill with strangers. A friendly face today could become a frightening one tomorrow. Unlike house cats, stray cats don't have the luxury of assuming they're safe. Everything around them must be evaluated. Every sound, every movement, every new person. Their survival depends on making good decisions. Because of that, stray cats rarely judge people by a single encounter. Instead, they collect information little by little. The first time a cat notices you, you're simply another part of the environment. You aren't important yet. You're no different from a passing bicycle, a parked car, or a bird flying overhead. But something interesting happens if you appear again and again. Perhaps you leave your home every morning at almost the same time. Maybe you walk the same sidewalk after work. Perhaps you always pass the same park bench or take the same shortcut through the neighborhood. The cat begins noticing these repeated patterns, not because it's interested in you personally, because predictable things are easier to understand. Animals are excellent pattern detectors. A predictable object is usually less dangerous than an unpredictable one. Every time you repeat the same routine, your behavior becomes easier for the cat to remember. Without realizing it, you're becoming familiar. Familiarity is the first small brick in the foundation of trust. The cat isn't deciding whether it likes you, it's deciding whether your behavior makes sense. From a distance, it quietly watches, not every day, not every moment, just enough to gather information. It notices how fast you walk, whether you make sudden movements, whether you shout, whether you chase birds, whether dogs react to you, whether other people seem calm around you. All of these tiny details matter. To us, they're ordinary. To the cat, they're valuable pieces of information. Over time, those pieces begin fitting together like a puzzle. The picture becomes clearer. You always follow the same path. You don't rush toward the cat. You don't throw objects. You don't surprise it. Again and again, your behavior stays almost exactly the same. Consistency is something animals understand remarkably well. In the wild, repeated patterns often predict what will happen next. A trail that is usually quiet remains quiet. A tree that provides shelter continues providing shelter. A person who behaves calmly today is more likely to behave calmly tomorrow. The cat isn't thinking with words, it's recognizing patterns, and patterns are powerful. Long before you ever notice the cat paying attention to you, the cat may already know far more about your routine than you realize. That growing familiarity changes something important. The cat no longer reacts to your presence the way it did the first time. At first, it may have disappeared the moment you came into view. Now, it waits a little longer before moving away. Instead of sprinting into the bushes, it simply steps back. Instead of hiding completely, it watches from a safer distance. Those small changes may seem insignificant, but they represent an important shift. The cat is becoming more confident in its predictions. It has learned that when you appear, nothing bad usually happens. That doesn't mean the cat trusts you yet. It simply means you've become less uncertain. For wild and stray animals, uncertainty is often more frightening than danger itself. A known routine is easier to manage than an unpredictable surprise. This is why many stray cats begin recognizing individual people without ever interacting with them directly. They don't remember names, they remember behavior. Your walking speed, your posture, the sound of your footsteps, the direction you always travel. Even the clothes you regularly wear can become part of that familiar pattern. Every peaceful encounter quietly strengthens the cat's confidence. Think of each meeting as adding another page to a book. One page means very little, but after dozens of pages, a clear story begins to emerge. The story says something simple. This person behaves the same way every time. That consistency is surprisingly powerful. Researchers studying animal behavior have found that many species rely heavily on repeated experiences when deciding how to respond to people and places. Cats are no exception. They constantly compare what is happening now with what happened before. If those experiences remain calm and predictable, the animal slowly adjusts its expectations. You may never notice this process. The cat certainly isn't announcing it, but tiny signs begin to appear. Perhaps the cat no longer runs the instant you arrive. Maybe it sits beside the path for a few extra seconds. Sometimes it simply watches while you pass by. Those few seconds represent something meaningful. The cat is choosing observation over escape, and observation requires confidence. Confident animals can afford to spend more time gathering information. Fearful animals cannot. One of the most fascinating parts of this process is that trust often grows while both individuals continue doing exactly what they've always done. You don't need to call the cat. You don't need to reach toward it. In fact, trying too hard can interrupt the process. From the cat's perspective, sudden attention changes the pattern. The routine that once felt safe becomes unpredictable again. That's why patient people often gain the trust of stray cats more easily than people actively trying to attract them. The cat isn't rewarding kindness alone, it's responding to consistency. Day after day, your routine remains the same. The cat begins expecting to see you. Eventually, something surprising happens. On a morning when you don't appear, the cat will spend a little longer looking toward the path where you usually walk. Not because it misses you emotionally, because something familiar is missing. Animals notice changes. A repeated pattern that suddenly disappears attracts attention. In nature, unexpected changes often signal that something important has happened. The cat simply notices the difference. Then, when your routine returns the following day, the familiar pattern is restored. Another quiet lesson is learned. You are becoming one of the predictable parts of its environment. Like the old oak tree, like the wooden fence, like the park bench beside the path. You are no longer just another stranger passing through. You have become part of the landscape the cat understands. That realization is far more important than most people realize. Because trust doesn't begin with affection, it begins with predictability. And once predictability is firmly established, something even more remarkable starts to happen. The cat doesn't simply tolerate your presence anymore. It begins making decisions based on what it has learned about you. One day, without realizing it, you notice something different. The cat is sitting in its usual place beside the path. As you approach, it looks at you, but this time it doesn't leave. It simply watches. For a few seconds, the two of you share the same space. Then you continue walking, and the cat calmly remains where it is. That tiny moment is easy to overlook, yet for the cat, it represents weeks or perhaps months of quiet observation. It has already answered dozens of silent questions. Are you predictable? Yes. Do you move calmly? Yes. Do you respect its space? Again and again, yes. Those answers are what matter. Many people imagine that trust is built with food. Food can certainly encourage a cat to return, but food alone doesn't create lasting trust. A frightened cat might eat and still run away the moment you move. Real trust is different. Real trust changes behavior. Instead of constantly searching for the nearest escape route, the cat begins relaxing. Its body becomes less tense. Its ears no longer rotate toward every tiny sound. Its movements become slower and more natural. Sometimes it even sits down while you're nearby. To most people, that looks ordinary. To animal behavior experts, it's a remarkable sign. Animals rarely relax unless they believe the situation is reasonably safe. The cat hasn't stopped being cautious, it has simply decided that you don't belong in the category of immediate threats. That decision doesn't happen all at once, it grows from hundreds of quiet moments. Every peaceful encounter strengthens the pattern. Eventually, the cat begins predicting your arrival. It may appear beside the same path shortly before your usual walk. It may rest near the garden where it often sees you, not because you've trained it, because you've become part of the routine it understands. The relationship isn't based on ownership, it's based on familiarity. This is one of the beautiful things about stray cats. Their trust cannot be rushed, it cannot be demanded, it cannot be purchased. It has to be earned through patience. And patience is something animals remarkably well. The exact moment a stray cat decides to trust you isn't the moment it allows you to touch it. It happens much earlier. It happens the first time the cat chooses to stay instead of leaving. The first time it continues resting while you quietly pass by. The first time it decides that watching you is more important than escaping from you. That invisible decision is the true beginning of trust. Everything that follows grows from that single choice. Over time, you may notice even more subtle changes. The cat begins grooming itself while you're nearby. It stretches comfortably in the sunlight. It sits with its back partly turned toward you instead of always facing you. These are quiet signs of confidence. The cat is no longer using all of its energy to prepare for danger. It has learned something valuable. You are simply another peaceful part of its world. Interestingly, this process reflects something much larger than cats alone. Many wild animals rely on repeated experiences rather than first impressions. Foxes, deer, crows, squirrels, and countless other species constantly search for patterns. The world changes every day. Weather changes, seasons change, plants grow and disappear. Other animals come and go. But predictable behavior stands out. When a person consistently behaves in calm, non-threatening ways, some animals gradually adjust their expectations. Not because they think like humans, because pattern recognition is one of nature's greatest survival tools. Perhaps that's why these quiet encounters feel so meaningful to us. Neither side speaks, no promises are made, no agreement is ever announced. Yet, understanding slowly grows anyway. The cat remains wild, independent, free to leave whenever it chooses. And perhaps that's exactly what makes its trust so special. It is never forced, it is always a choice. So the next time you notice a stray cat sitting quietly as you walk past, remember that you may be witnessing the result of countless silent observations. The cat isn't judging you by a single day. It's remembering many days, many walks, many peaceful moments. Every calm encounter has become another piece of a much larger picture. And somewhere along the way, almost without either of you noticing, that picture changed. You stopped being a stranger. You became familiar. You became predictable. And in the quiet language that stray cats understand best, that is often the exact moment trust begins. Perhaps the greatest lesson these animals teach us isn't about cats at all. It's about trust itself. Real trust rarely appears in a dramatic instant. It grows through consistency, through patience, through showing up the same way, day after day. Whether between people or between humans and animals, trust is usually built long before anyone realizes it exists. Maybe that's why these quiet encounters stay with us. A cat doesn't need words to tell us we've earned its confidence. Its behavior says everything. It stays. It relaxes. It continues living its ordinary life while we are nearby. And sometimes, without either of us planning it, two very different lives briefly share the same peaceful path. Not because one changed the other, but because both learned something simple. The world feels just a little safer today than it did yesterday. And sometimes, that is more than enough. Ooh, yeah,